Hi, this is Sim.
This is Ian.
We are here to talk about the psychology behind professional development. Today's topic is being thankful in your current career. Welcome to the Edit Room's Too Long Didn't Listen portion of this episode. Our topic today is finding gratitude. Although it is important to have gratitude for having a job and staying comfortable in the job, it is also very difficult when you feel undervalued or are navigating challenging work environments. The issue is the negativity bias. It takes multiple positives to nullify one negative thought. We carry this noise with us, which prevents us from accepting compliments, seeing the good. The solution lies in conscious awareness and reflection. So we recommend a mind decluttering exercise. All you have to do is take a pen and paper, write down every thought you're having within a 30-second, 1 minute period. Write it down without judgment. After you're done, cross off the noise, the ones that are not really meaningful to you and maybe even harmful, maybe even not accurate. Cross those off and reflect on the ones that's left and ask yourself, why is this important? This process will help lighten the load, clear your mind, and actively choose a positive perspective. It'll take time, but as you build this out, it'll go from noise in your mind to awareness to a habit and really disrupt the negativity down. Ian, welcome. How are you? Yes.
I
Thankful?
mean, this is going to be around Thanksgiving when it airs. So this is why we're talking about being thankful in your current career. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling
Right. So I'm looking forward to having today's conversation where we're talking about what we are grateful for in our career,
yeah,
right? And what does that
yeah.
look like and how can we find that gratitude? Especially as you mentioned, like this is going to be released during the month of November. But we wanted to return here and say like, okay, how can we identify opportunities and share gratitude for the job we have, the career we're in?
I think maybe it starts not with the job we have, but maybe just what we have,
Yes.
and then to apply it to the career side of it all.
Mhm. Let's start.
Probably the first thing. Yeah. I mean, probably the first thing to say is if you have a job, I mean, congratulations. I mean, that's one of the first steps of being grateful is to have a job. All of the responsibilities it comes with is challenging.
Yeah.
But to be grateful that, again, you have the job is probably the first step. Now, some people may love their job, some people may qualify it as a career, and some people may just say, well, again, as we mentioned before in other podcasts, it just checks a box. And either in any of those directions, just to be thankful for at least I have a job. Now, it from that center point, it can go in numerous directions as to
Mhm.
why you're grateful. So I'll just start with that center point of just having a job
Having a job.
to be
Right.
thankful.
No, I'm so glad you brought up everything that's going on
Mm.
in the economic world, the greater world of AI disrupting so many different jobs, right? Companies are tightening their workforce. Government agencies are laying off people in a historic time. There's so many people being impacted, and those those of us who have a position right now finding gratitude in whatever that is because it provides a place of safety and security, right? In I guess my challenge here is how do we keep finding gratitude in those hardships?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would think, again, if we're focusing on the job itself, it's going to be different from
Mhm.
focusing on within.
Exactly.
So, for example, if we're looking at, my boss is not the best boss in the world, but at least someone is watching what I'm doing, and maybe this person can help me mentor and maybe
Mhm.
put me in the right direction and maybe give me some good advice. For myself, I have a challenging time being optimistic. So, this episode is kind of getting me out of my comfort zone because unfortunately, I'm by nature, and I'm working on this over
Mhm.
time, is being more optimistic in my current situations and being more optimistic as to what I have and what I don't have and what I need and what I don't need.
Mhm.
So with the career, being thankful for it takes more for me. It takes a lot for me to be thankful for what I have. And even when I was working numerous jobs at one time, or even if I was working a
Mm.
very challenging job in a certain career, I had a really hard time being thankful for it. Sounds crazy, but just to say, well, working at a place where people would say, well, if you can work here, you can work anywhere. Probably one of the worst sayings I heard on numerous occasions. It really was. It really was. So, I
But
mean,
tell me more. Break that down for me because I'm having a
yeah,
hard time understanding like that sentiment.
if you can get through the position you're in, if you
Mhm.
can get through the work environment that you're in, then by logic, if you can do it there, then you can do it anywhere else because it can't get worse than where you are
Oh,
based upon the career, based upon the management, based upon the
right.
environment, the culture, whatever it is.
I see.
That's like the floor, right? So anything else moving up is going to be just 10 times or 100 times or infinitely better because if you
Okay,
can
so
work
yeah,
here,
so
you
you're
can work
just at
anywhere.
the bottom of the bottom.
Right, exactly. That's
So
that's the
that's what
comparison.
referencing. Okay, okay, okay.
Correct, correct.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know how fortunate I was to be in numerous situations where there are many times in different careers I held and positions I was in, they would say, "Man, if you can work here, you can work anywhere."
Ooh.
Cool.
All right. See,
So,
this
I
is
mean, my choice of careers and positions wasn't ideal. I don't know.
okay. Well, I think we touched on this in previous episodes. So I'm gonna go back, and viewers, please go ahead and listen in order. Maybe this will start making sense because we talked about why you and I doing this podcast, right? Because we care about the social impact, the human
Right.
impact, and I think one of these statements that you mentioned in it, and I was just reviewing all of our episodes,
Mhm.
is that even though we want the human impact and we care about the social good, that does not always equate to financial gains, right? How many people don't get the services and everyone says like, wait, what? You're charging $100, $200 for the service?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to find gratitude when you are constantly underestimated and
Mhm.
undervalued.
Yeah. That's and it is challenging. It is challenging. The choice of careers that I've made, the choice of the positions that I got into, that
Mhm.
was by choice. No one said I had to go into certain careers. No one said I had to go into certain job opportunities. That was by choice. So I had to
Mhm.
make I lived up to the choices that I made. 100% correct. On a daily basis, it was challenging. And I think that looking back, and now we can go back to the whole being grateful, you know, now I can go back and say, I'm grateful for going through that and going through the careers I went through because now
Mhm.
I can go and I'll be on the other side and say, hey, this is what I learned.
Right.
This is why it was good. This is what I don't recommend moving forward to other people who are considering certain careers,
Mhm.
you know?
Because that has to come with a lot of awareness and reflection,
Mhm.
right? Because I know when I was going through my struggles of like, oh my gosh, I have to do all this at minimum wage,
Yeah.
right? My background is counseling. That was probably loud.
Ooh.
Counseling and corporate. Corporate gave me the salary to do the human impact work, right? My coaching services. But again, I had to supplement my income to something that I enjoy doesn't isn't fulfilling to
Right.
do something that is fulfilling. But the reason I apologize to you is
Right.
because that you had to go through a lot of reflection to recognize, yes, I grew up, and I'm using you as an example right now, grew up in these hardship professions, experiences, and learned what is good, what isn't good for me.
It takes some doing, right? And again, to compare sometimes it's maybe oversimplifying situations because now of where I am versus where I was. Now I have more opportunities to be more selective in what I'm doing. I have more of opportunity to follow my passion versus being more reactive.
Yes.
I have more opportunity, financial flexibility versus financially strapped.
Mm.
But this is I promise you, whoever's listening, I am not taking anything for granted and being thankful for what I have now because of the fact that it's unbelievable. But also recognizing for the past 3 decades, I wasn't thankful
Mm.
by any stretch of the imagination. I
Mhm.
was just angry and I was upset and I was just pissed and tired because this is what I felt I had to do because I felt this was the only thing I could do because I was hired for it. And I didn't really see past doing certain jobs
Mm,
or being working in certain fields. I'm like, oh, well, I'm okay with it.
yeah.
And then I'll just stay in my lane and I'll keep on doing that. And if I'm getting paid however much or little, more on the little side, I wasn't thankful for that. I was just like, well, it felt like something I had to do. And I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. The only thought I put into it was the difficulty the position was.
Yeah.
So that anger and that frustration that took over. It wasn't
Yes.
the thankfulness. It wasn't the gratitude at all.
And
Yeah,
let's rewind just a little bit because
sure.
you hit on so many different components of finding gratitude. There's so many barriers to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And in the experience that you shared, you were doing to do, and people were telling you, like, yes, you should do this, you should do
Yeah.
this. And you were like, yep, I will do this, I will do that. And I fell on the same side,
Mhm.
right? I was doing, and for me, I was never happy
Right.
because, uh,
Yes.
in a previous episode, I mentioned, like, my head and my heart would always be in a conflict because I love the analytical side, but it's also the emotional side that so oftentimes, if you look at my career past, right, there's a corporate side where I'm excelling, and then I just do a career pivot so severe that is my emotional side is being fulfilled, and then I have to go back to the corporate side. So it was a try for me, it was trying to find a balance between the heart and the head, right? When I'm saying head, I'm talking about, like, the analytical side. When I'm saying heart, I'm talking about the human impact side, right? So you can see, like, I was ping-ponging. We all have different definition of what gratitude looks like,
Mm.
what it means, right? For me, gratitude is very different. As soon as I wake up, right? Oh man, I have to wake up. And then there's a space where the gratitude is being present and being aware. As soon as I have that, I
Yeah.
find a sense of gratitude. I don't know what it is for you. I'd
Yeah.
love to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would, I'm on the same page with that in terms of being present, being thankful for what you have and making the most of it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, making the most of what you have, recognizing that it's not infinite,
Mhm,
right? Whatever is going on is going to be temporary. So just to make the most of it that you can.
mhm,
And I think that, there are days I need to get better at being consistent. That's one of my things I'm working on is being consistent with whatever it is. But I would say that one of the things to be consistent upon is recognizing those moments to be thankful for, recognizing the moments to be present in. And to the point of, you can look back. I look back and I look at those moments. I was like, man, I really should have done that differently, or I really should have been thankful for what I had. Like I said, a lot of these podcasts will probably, as you mentioned, reflect the negative, and I promise it's unintentional. It really is unintentional, but I think that's what. But from my background, unfortunately,
mhm.
working all those years and looking back, recognizing that I love to use this line from the Avengers. Sorry, is that the bill comes due. The
Yes.
bill comes due, and over time, you're paying that cost of what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Right.
The bill comes due,
Yes.
and
Always.
if you're not grateful, if you're not showing gratitude for what you have, I promise you the bill comes due. And that bill for me was just constant negativity. It was just unhappiness. It
Mhm.
was not performing well at work. It was personal relationships were terrible, and no foresight, no, just one big gray cloud, I guess is the best way to put it. And I
Yeah.
think that gratitude shifts that
It can.
because of the
It
domino
absolutely can.
effect, right? The negativity is easy with the domino effect. Oh man,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
all it takes
Um,
is that one simple domino, and man, it is just the easiest thing to just to take that mentality and switch it from a negative domino to positive dominoes,
right.
you know?
I'm gonna keep going back to some of our previous
Right.
episode because one thing that I mentioned is, for every negative thought we have, we need 5 positive thoughts just to nullify it.
That's retail too. I think there's some sort of retail in retail. They say for every negative comment you receive, I think you have to get like
Mhm.
5 positive comments or something along those lines.
I'm sure.
I don't know if it's websites or if it
Yeah.
was in store or whatever it was,
Mhm.
or maybe it was restaurants,
Oh,
but it's the same concept.
right. Because it takes so much, and I don't like this about the world. It takes so much to build trust, right? To say like, yes, this is good, this is good, this is good. But it's that one comment that can destroy it. One, if we can just see it and say like, you know what? That negative thought that I have, it's not always true. Actually, 99.9% of the time, it's not true. There was that one point in time back when
Hmm.
that 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 was true. Yet we
Yeah.
keep that in mind, and our when we start, I guess, spiraling through our negative thoughts, it's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Hmm.
That 0.01% the time when I had that." Yeah, that actually happens all the time,
Right.
right? Because we tend to I I'll speak for me. I tend to hear the good. Somebody gave me a compliment, like, "Okay, thanks." Right? I don't store it
Right.
like I store the
Yep.
negative.
You don't put value into it. You don't put as much value into a positive as you do into a negative.
Right.
You put more value into a negative, or
Absolutely.
the negative weighs more than a positive does.
Yes. 5 to 1,
That's
right?
right.
5 to 1. So the reason we're talking about gratitude is because, again, this is our 5th episode. Odd how that worked. Odd how that worked. But we're finally trying to get to a space where we can start speaking a little bit positively about our professional journey. But that positive can't exist without the negative that we have, the gray clouds that engulf us, right? And there is a level of shame and guilt associated in not being able to be grateful for everything that we have. And the reason I say this is because don't be down. You have this, you have that, you're doing that, and so on and so forth. Other people can give us all the compliments. That doesn't necessarily mean like our glasses are clean and we can see it.
I mean, now the question is, how do you deal with a compliment? Do you accept it or do you reflect it?
Tell me more about this.
Right.
Accept
So,
and reflect.
do you, I shouldn't say reflect, just say reject, accept or
Mm,
reject. So if a compliment comes your way, do you say, you know what, you got a great outfit on today? Accept it. Hey, thanks. Yeah. It took some doing, had some help with it. Thanks. Or you
right.
reject it. You say, this thing, it's funny because I don't know, this shirt's so right. I mean, I've had it for a few years and, it's okay. So now you
Mhm.
just rejected the compliment. So I guess on an individual basis, is it easier for you to accept a compliment or do you reject it because maybe you feel uncomfortable in accepting a compliment?
This episode is sponsored by Balanced at Last, my coaching services. That's balancedatlast.com. If you are curious about how I can help you, please schedule a free consultation call, a 20-minute call to assess your challenges and ways my services can help you. Mention you are a podcast listener and receive 20% off your coaching services. Offer valid for a limited time. Visit balancedatlast.com or scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you for listening. Right. To those of
I,
us viewing this
yeah,
in video, right, you'll see behind me is a whole bunch of shelves. Or if I even move it, there's like 2 other shelves. They aren't shelves, bookshelves. Yeah.
in
What are
bookshelves.
they?
Yeah.
Right. The way I received what you just said is there room on these shelves for positive compliments? Have I cleared out the clutter on these shelves so I can hear, I can receive, and I can put it on this shelf, right? And one of the biggest component for me is when I'm not mindful and when I'm not present, that shelf just collects dust, grime. And when it comes to compliments, I look at it from that perspective. Did I create enough headspace to say, well, thank you for this compliment. And then say, I got this XY a couple of years ago. It's the same thing we're saying. And I'm grateful that it's held up because I wear it constantly. And whenever I put this on, because I put it on constantly, it makes me reconnect with myself. And
That's
by
a different level when it comes to
yeah,
accepting compliments, right?
oh, absolutely.
But that takes
Absolutely.
training. That's
It
not an
does.
overnight situation.
No. The overnight thing that anyone can do is get a blank piece of paper. All right. Write down every thought that comes to mind in 1 minute. Doesn't matter. Don't judge it because we are very good at judging and we are addicted to judging. This is good. This is bad. This is good. This is bad. That's positive. That's negative. Don't do that. For 1 minute, just write it down. As many as comes through. I'm hungry. Okay. I'm breathing weird. Okay. Right. Whatever it is, just write it down because then you'll see in that 1 minute what was on your shelf. Right. And the reason to do this and my claim of it'll have a overnight experience like change is then you get to see how much is noise and how much is actually meaningful. Because one thing that whenever I look at my shelves, head shelves, not bookshelves, well, sometimes bookshelves, there is about 80 to 90% noise that just fill my mind, right? Does it give any value? Not to the level that I'm carrying it. So 1 minute, write everything down, cross off everything that feels like noise. Should take you 30 seconds, actually less, right? And then whatever's left over, right? Ask yourself, why is this here, right? And I'm going to give credit to the sensation and we can have a different conversation about this. Mary Kondo. Are you familiar with this person?
Yes.
They had like 2020, they had a big
Organizer,
yes. Does this bring
organize
me joy?
right.
Right? If it does, okay. If not, take it away. That so many people found Mary Kondo helpful in ridding their closets, their organizational with things that did not bring them joy. Grateful for that. My hesitation. And this is a personal thing, okay? And this is where we diverted, right?
Right. Yeah.
Going back to this list again, I'm holding up a notepad,
Piece of paper.
right? Take 1 moment,
Go on,
write
piece of
down
paper.
every thought that you have,
There you go.
take 30 seconds and cross off all the things that are noise. All right. With whatever you're left with, ask yourself, why is this important? Why do I have this? Right. And as you reflect, write it down. I am a big advocate of writing things down on paper and pen or iPad and pencil or equivalent Android,
Right.
right? Instead of typing things. I know we love typing, but neurologically, our brain fires on so many different synapses when we're
Mhm.
writing, when we're tactically involved, when we are visually involved, when we see our, muscles are also at work. 1 minute, write down everything, 30 seconds, go through, clear out the noise, then spend about 5 minutes going through every single thing that is not crossed off and say, why is this important to me? And write down the answer. Don't hold yourself back as, oh, it's not important. What you want to disrupt is the judgment, our short way of getting to judgment. But that's not actually important. It doesn't matter. Just write down whatever's coming. Okay. Then what you'll find is there are certain values that are held in those things that are still available. And then you can start seeing and asking yourself questions like, is this true right now? How often is this true? Where does this come from? So, all we're doing right now is really decluttering our mind, just like the shelves, so we can make space for those compliments. "Oh, you look sharp today." So, we can take that and put that on the shelf because that gives us more. We can find gratitude in accepting compliments. So again, I promised this will have a overnight impact. If you do it once, it will have a overnight impact of maybe half a day. But if you start doing this regularly, and I'm not saying do it every day. If you can, that's great, right? Personally, I do it probably every 2, 3 months now, but I had to when I was in the deepest of pits, because we were talking about pits, right? It's like it can only get better from here. Deepest of pits. To find gratitude, I had to shovel through the noise and claw through. Yeah, that was a how do I say this? That's not a helpful thought that is based on any truth. For example, we were talking about horrible bosses or the
Scary
costumes we
bosses,
wear.
yeah.
Sorry,
No,
the costumes
right,
we wear.
right.
Right, that costume is no longer serves me. let me go ahead and take it out of my closet, take it out of my headspace. And for me, it helped me climb out of my depression because I was able to lighten the load, clean off my glasses from those clouds, right? See the light at the end of the tunnel because every single moment I practiced a activity like this, I was making progress towards seeing more and more light.
And to a
So,
point where it becomes a
yeah,
habit. That's the thing.
exactly.
The consistency makes it
Yes.
the habit. And you're mentioning something about when you are writing down these thoughts. A couple times you mentioned that I wanted to say you said this isn't important, right? Or your thoughts will say this isn't important. That's that negativity creeping in,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's the devaluing of what you're doing creeping in. And even during the exercise, it's still a challenge
Yes.
because you could say, "Well, I guess you're right. Yeah, this isn't important. Yeah, it's all right. I won't just do this exercise. Things are creeping in. I'm fine. No, then devalues and devalues and devalues,
It does.
and again, the domino effect, the negativity domino effect kicking in again.
Mhm.
So the you have to kind of start in the beginning. It's going to be a challenge to train your brain to block out that negativity and to block
Yeah.
out that noise and to keep on doing the exercise.
And
I
this
mean,
is this is
for the
where
minute.
you're absolutely right. And this is where I'll tweak a little bit
Mhm.
that statement
Yeah.
of try to accept that it's
Mm,
reading it negatively or positively or however, because the more we try to dismiss, it's essentially like shoving it down, right? Or just ignoring it. It just collects on the shelves, right? So right now, I look horrible with my glasses on. Those of you that are listening, I wear glasses. So does Ian. It makes us look smart.
only reading, yeah, it makes me look a 1% smarter, and honestly, I only have them on because of the screen, so I can look at other things, like, look at the text and whatnot, but
Yeah.
in real life, I don't really use minus reading, I don't really wear glasses,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, he fooled me once, or 5 episodes. So but again, the the point of it is, as we're starting out, don't dismiss anything. Write it down. Write it down, write it down. Because by getting your brain to do the mental work of good, bad, you're gonna start creating additional work for the brain, and our brain already consumes so much energy that
Mm,
ping-ponging within our brain is just not helpful. Put it down on paper or digitally,
mm,
right? Handwritten preferred. Then you don't just have like one part of your brain negotiating with each other, with itself, right? You have multiple parts of your brain having a contextual and rich conversation that you can verbalize, right? So
yeah.
we talked about this Scary Bosses episode where when we're a child, we ask our parents, can you look under the bed? Because there could be a monster, right? Can you turn on the nightlight so I can see more, right? When we're adults, we don't think about the scaries. Actually, let me rephrase that. We don't verbalize the scaries. It just stays in our mind, in our psyche. Those insecurities, right? Those doubts, those negative thoughts, those, I guess, hardships, inability to find gratitude, things like that. Those are the monsters under our bed in
Mm.
our mind, right? If we aren't taking the time to look under and do a reality test, then they just grow in our minds. And this is what's scary because nobody gets to see it until it gets to that breaking point, right? We can suffer silently for so long because we are resilient. And it's not at the bottom of the pit until we haven't found another way.
Or maybe you're just used to a certain way that you don't see another one
Absolutely.
until someone, some idea pops in your head or
Yeah.
comes to your attention and says, there's might be another way of doing this.
Therapy, y'all. I didn't get out of my pit solo. That did not happen, right? I had to seek therapy. I saw therapists for years. I still have one, right? There's a quote from one of my favorite shows, The West Wing. Have you seen it?
I've seen a few episodes.
Okay. Okay. In this episode, there's two people, two of the supporting characters. They're talking in this dialogue. And I'm butchering it. Hopefully, I'll find the clip and send it to you, Ian. Um,
Okay.
it's pretty much like one person is in a manhole, right, at the bottom, and they're trying to figure out how to get out. They try everything. They're exhausted. They're yelling, "Help! Help! Help!" And someone comes by. It's like, "Hey, who's down there?" It's like, "It's John. John, is that you from XY?" It's like, "Yeah, who's that?" "It's Bob." I'm just using generic names,
Right.
by the way. "It's Bob. What are you doing down there?" "I fell and I can't get out. And I tried everything. Can you throw me like a rope or something?" It's like, "Yeah, give me a minute. Give me a minute." And then Bob just jumps down. "What are you, an idiot? Why'd you jump down?" Right? Because I've been here before. I know how to get out, right? And then the moral of the story is you gotta ask for help so people know that you felt, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta talk to people because they weren't calling Bob or anybody else. They just said, "I need help." And Bob was the person that was just able to hear and came down and said, like, "Hey, I've been here before. Let's get out together."
It's interesting where help comes from.
Always. Always.
Sometimes when you least expect it or where you least expect it from.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm looking at the time. We're at 51 minutes, right? Even talking about gratitude is tough. It is. What are some steps that you can take to start recognizing gratitude? And to Ian's point, it doesn't have to be about career, doesn't have to be about professional. It doesn't even have to be something deep seated with meaning. It can be, you know what? This t shirt really brings me joy, like Marie Kondo. That's why I still have it, right? I'm eating breakfast. Yeah, it's a cracker. I got it. Because when our world is covered in dark fog, it's important to recognize that, hey, I can see 2 inches in front of me, 2 feet in front of me, wherever that is, right? And decluttering our mind without placing judgment immediately, decluttering our mind on a regular basis helps us see clearer. And what
I
do
can
you
see
think?
that. No, I can see that. I can see that there's always things to work on um, from this from over here, and I think those are really good ideas and good steps to follow. Trying to work on ways to be more gratitude, and I don't think there's too many ways you can work on gratitude. I mean, just starting with one step, I think is just as important as doing 4 or 5 techniques, because if you
Yeah,
start, I think, one technique, then it will become a thought process says, "Okay, well, I did this, and this is great." And then it will kind of open up another thing to say, "Oh, what about writing something down? Why am I writing this down? Because of this way." And then again, it now lead to something else.
right,
So it's that first step of recognizing gratitude and being thankful for what you have and whatever part of your life that, funny enough, it's a tangible asset that you can use in other places as well in your life. You know, it doesn't have to be just for why you're thankful in your career, even though that's kind of like the title of today's podcast episode.
right.
But what are you grateful for kind of in general? What are you thankful
Yeah,
for in general? And
yeah.
kind of starting from there.
No, you're right. Like for us to be thankful for our career, it provides us with, our basic needs. But if we don't have our career, we can still be thankful. And one of the greatest things a client reminded me of is positive attracts positivity, negative attracts negativity. And I know the saying is positive and negative opposites attract,
Right.
right? I'm sure that that's also true because we're
Yeah.
always looking for balance. But I I I stay with that because my client reminded me of like when I am having positive conversations, positive thoughts, for some odd reason, right? Things look brighter. I'm having more positive interactions. I'm giving people more grace. I'm giving myself permission, right?
Right.
And it just feels like I'm doing well, I'm doing well, I'm doing well. And then just like that, someone might have said a comment that I didn't like, and it starts spiraling. The
Hmm.
negative starts
Yeah.
spiraling. But and this is when we were working through some things. It's like, yeah, it starts spiraling, but how can we stop that spiral? Because as soon as we recognize it, if we don't stop it, it snowballs. And those that know about snowball just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what's the first thing we can do to stop negative thoughts from spiraling? And no one will guess my answer to this. I'm sure. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say recognize it.
Huh?
I would say recognize a negative thought.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop it.
No, it won't stop it, but at least if you recognize that's there, then maybe that will if you're in such a good mood, maybe that will devalue the negative thoughts.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Absolutely. My answer was write it down. Write it down so
Yeah,
it's no longer
excellent.
in your head. No, you're
Right.
right. You have to recognize that you're going, the negative cycle is starting, right? Without that, you can't take action. You can only feel it when it becomes a certain level. And again, it doesn't matter what level you recognize it. As soon as you recognize, oh, I'm going through a negative spiral, write it down. And the more you practice this, the level, it'll just shrink because you've already recognized that level 5. So now you'll be looking for it at level 4
Mm, right.
and level 3, right? And sometimes it'll just navigate through all those and go to level 10 immediately, 10 being the highest. But as soon as you recognize it, as Ian said, write it down, validate it, figure out what the noise is. And I'm not saying this will immediately fix it, but it is a really good way to start.
Because you have to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. That is correct. That is correct. We're hitting an hour right now.
Yeah, speaking about starting somewhere, I've had to end somewhere too. So maybe this is a good point to stop about the I mean it's great. It's great material,
Yeah.
great practical usage of what we can do when we have negative thoughts and how to be thankful and how to have gratitude and what that looks like. But, you know, people have to move on with their lives and do other things.
Trevor Noah said it really well recently, or I don't know if it was recent, but I heard it. I love a good ending because everything must come to an end. But before today's episode ends, I promised the viewers one thing, that we were going to tell them if you watched K-pop Demon Hunter.
So I did. I
Okay.
watched some of it
Okay.
because I was asleep through most of it. So I,
That's okay.
I did my best. I did my best, but I just
Could
couldn't stay awake through. Oh, I was tired. I mean, that's all
There
I
you
got.
have
That's
it.
all I got.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. Ian
Ah,
fell asleep.
I fell asleep watching K-pop Demon Hunters,
Yeah. Should he
and
give it another try? Put it in the comments.
I yes, I will. I will do this. I will at some point. I don't know when throughout maybe the course of October or at this point,
Yeah,
end of the year, maybe I'll pop it in and watch it by myself. May seem a little weird to do that, but that's okay. No judgment.
that's right.
And I'll see if I can get through the whole thing and then come
Yeah,
back and talk about what lessons, if any, were taught to me about K-pop Demon Hunters.
perfect.
I just hear the songs on the radio with my kids, and that's all I know. So I wanna get this whole why it's such a thing.
Yeah, yeah. Best of luck. Best of luck.
I'm gonna need it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because my wife still hasn't seen it,
Okay.
and that's on me. That's on me. That's okay. Again, thank you everyone for joining us today. We had a conversation about being thankful and finding gratitude when it's difficult, and how do you even move through it. All right, Ian. Any last words?
I'm grateful for those who are listening, and thank you so much for putting up with us so far. And if you have any comments, any things you want to discuss, any topics you want us to cover, please don't hesitate to put them down below in the comments section, and we will definitely check them out.
Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the conversation. We hope this episode has given you some insight on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling career. Please find Beyond the 9 to 5, a balanced career on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Thank you for joining us.